Hi everyone, my name is Maria Fox and I am a group expert in this Lumen Facebook community, and if you're watching this on my YouTube, I am a metabolic coach with Lumen, and I'm just here to share a few headlines from some of my learning over the last 3 months. I have read a fantastic book by Dr. Stephen Gundry called Unlocking the Ketone Code, and I really highly recommend that book. I just want to say that it kind of made sense of all the amazing progress that I had in the first part of my Lumen journey, which was 50 pounds weight loss in 7 months. And it also made me realize just how important all of my life decisions are around how I manage sleep, how I prioritize my sleep, how I manage my stress levels, the type of activity, the intensity of the activity, and the frequency of the activity that I engage in terms of exercise. And then, of course, and not unimportantly, the nutrition that I eat. And when I say the nutrition that I eat, it's not just the macros, fats, carbs, and proteins. It's actually what's in all of those macronutrients. Because actually, you know, you could eat a ratio of protein, fats, and carbs, and you can come out with the same energy value, but as we know, actually all calories are not created equal. So I want to recommend the book to you. I also want to recommend that you jump on Lumen's interview this week that we've just had, where Mia interviewed Dr. Molly Maloof. She says a lot of the things that Dr. Gundry talks about in his book, and she's also written a book that's just about to come out, and that'll definitely be on my list, just to explore all the issues covered a little more. So without going into all the science that they present, I am just going to give you a couple of headlines really, because I really want to emphasize right at the beginning of 2022, when you might be in that position where you are looking to lose fat, that there are some really important things in that process. The first thing to say is it isn't calories in and calories out. Yes, there is a part of the equation which is how many calories in and how many calories out. But what is more important in that equation is the type of calories, and the type, I mean, not just the type of macronutrient, but what is it that you are eating in that macronutrient. So in other words, French fries from McDonald's will have a certain amount of carbs and a certain amount of fat in them. Okay, and it might not hit all your stuff for the day, but because it's trans fats, because it's fried food, because it's processed and highly refined, actually you might have a certain amount of calories and it might be in your allocation, but that type of food does not help your mitochondrial health. And mitochondrial health is the two things that both Dr. Gundry and Dr. Molly Maloof both home in on. And when I reflected on my Lumen journey, I thought, yeah, that's another real big key. I took care of the type of macronutrients that I was eating, for sure. I didn't eat highly refined foods, tried to stay away from trans fats and processed fats, tried to eat good fats, tried to eat good carbs, and tried to eat them at the right time of day. And all of the things that Lumen tell you as you do your measurement, eat your carbs earlier in the day, all that kind of thing, I really focused on eating plenty of fibre. And that's just the kind of headlines. But mitochondrial health is going to be key in your ability to waste calories, as Dr. Gundry says. And that health of those cells, your mitochondria, and their ability to multiply definitely holds the key to so much in your energy expenditure, your energy usage, your cellular health, your what they call longevity, i.e. your life, and really your energy levels, how you feel. There's so many benefits to eating the right food. Helps your mood, changes your mindset. It's fantastic. Anyway, that wasn't what I was going to say in terms of headlines. The headlines are that you got to eat plenty of fibre. Definitely eating plenty of fibre as part of your carbs. You need to eat polyphenol rich foods. So I'm not going to go into all of them, but things like asparagus is good. Green, those really dense green veggies are really good. Check it out basically online. Red onion's really good. There's loads of polyphenol rich foods, and your cells absolutely love polyphenol rich foods. Not only is it good for the cellular health, but it helps with lowering blood sugar, research would indicate too. So they are really good. Now, I didn't know that I was eating polyphenol rich foods when I was doing my journey. I just was eating them, so that was helpful. I ate spinach every day, I ate red onion pretty much every day, I ate broccoli every day, I ate asparagus every day. So there's some really important things, and some of them feed your gut microbiome, as Dr. Gundry calls them. They're your gut buddies. Your gut buddies need to be healthy, so they're breaking down the food in the right way, they're creating the right sort of energy from the food that you are eating. So what else helps to improve mitochondrial health? Time restricted eating. We know about that. Intermittent fasting definitely helps to improve your mitochondria. So definitely having a break of 12 hours if you can, and aiming for a break of up to 16 hours. Now, Dr. Gundry goes into a lot of detail around the time restricted eating and the different approaches that you can have. What I will say is that I actually was in a place where I started on 12 or 13 hours fasting, and then moved to a place where I was 9 or 10. And I still wake up in fat burn. It doesn't actually really matter how long I fast. I can fast 8 hours. Pretty much, if I go to sleep, my body is good now at shifting to burning fat. So, I say all that to say, use your lumen device to find out what your best fasting window is, and then try and work with that. Now, some people put in the group often things like, oh, I'm blowing a 4 when I wake up, or I'm blowing a 5 when I wake up, or I'm blowing a 3, should I keep fasting? I think in the beginning it's important to establish some patterns. The aim is to get your metabolism to switch to fat burning overnight, and that doesn't always happen just because you extend your fast. In fact, it only really begins to happen when your mitochondria are able to start using fat for fuel, which is why at the beginning of your lumen journey, you'll eat probably more fat than you're used to try and get your metabolism to wake up to burning fat, dietary fat to start off with. Because once it's learned how to burn dietary fat, it will be able to switch into using fat stores. And as you'll know by now, fat doesn't make you fat. Fat is an energy source just like carbohydrates. Excess calories and highly inflammatory foods and sugar make you fat. So if you're eating more than you need and the content of what you're eating is not good, that will make you fat and will make you put on fat. So time restricted eating polyphenol rich foods, and then this is a real key one, stress, managing your stress levels. I've been really experimenting with this, so I've noticed a few things. The first is when my stress levels are really low, average daily stress levels are really low, I blow more ones. When I have my breakfast, like I did on Friday morning, I did some weights, I then had my breakfast, so I blew a 1 when I woke up, and then I had a little snack before my workout, but not very much, probably 1 portion of carbs. I did my weights workout, 45 minutes, that's all it was. I blew another 1 after the workout. I then had my breakfast, omelette, avocado, spinach, and a protein shake as well. So quite a big breakfast, probably about 50 grams of protein in that one go. That's a bit more than I would normally go with, but it was fine. No real carbs in that. There was hardly any carbs in my breakfast. And then after breakfast, a little bit later, I blew a 2. I then was sedentary because I was stuck with my car being serviced, and I was on my laptop in a very nice rested sort of state. And for the next 6-7 hours, because I decided just not to eat, I'd taken a protein bar just in case it got stuck. Didn't anticipate getting stuck there for 8 hours. And I blew 1s and 2s, pretty much until I started to feel a bit hungry at 2 o'clock. Now, why do I share that? Because I hadn't eaten any carbs, so I wasn't expecting my body to shift to carbs. I probably used the fat calories I'd eaten in my breakfast pretty much quite quickly, because normally I wouldn't be continually blowing 1s and 2s for 7 hours. But obviously the longer I went without food, it's kind of went from 2s down to 1s, and then I was just sailing with 1s, and then I had my snack, and then I came home and I had some lunch and my measurements went up to a 3. And then yesterday, pretty similar day. The only thing with yesterday, which was quite interesting, was I did a high intensity workout, and that elevates your cortisol levels. So my average stress on Friday, despite doing the weight training, was about 19 out of 100, which is very low. It's like, I don't see that in a day, general day. But the accompanying factor was low stress, fat burning. I introduced carbs, stress level goes up slightly, and I switched to burning carbs. So I have a higher measurement, and then back to bed and a lower measurement. Boost day, there's the next day, blew a 1, morning measurement, did a cardio workout, blew a 2 after the cardio workout. Then I blew a 5, but I was in a rush. So I'd made sure not to answer the question, you have had 1 to 2 servings. And then I did have a decent amount of carbs in my breakfast and I blew a 5. But I then dropped back down to a 3 later in the day, and then had another high carb meal and I blew another 5. Happy days. Dropped down to a 4, and then before bed last night back to a 2, and this morning a 1. So I share all that to say that one of the patterns that I've noticed, that if you lower your stress levels, you will see more fat burning. Your body can switch to it. If you're doing strength training, as long as it's not high intensity strength training, your body will burn through the excess carbs that you've got and into fat stores pretty quickly. Obviously, I caveat all of that to say we are all very unique, and therefore sometimes your response is going to be different. But I wanted to share that stress is what I think is probably one of the biggest factors around fat loss. And if you've got elevated stress levels and your stress levels are continually high and you're not getting good sleep quality, your body is not going to be able to burn fat as efficiently. And that isn't just because stress means you're switching into needing a glucose supply. It also is because your mitochondria aren't repairing themselves in the way that they need to. And you stress your mitochondria by eating the wrong foods, drinking the wrong stuff, doing intense exercise that's too intense too frequently. You know, I see people struggling to lose their last weight or struggling to lose fat who are doing long, intense workouts. I would say focus on getting your fat stores broken down before you go back to doing too much long intensity type training. You know, that was one of the decisions I had to make, and it was really hard in the beginning on my lumen journey because I used to go out on long bike rides, I used to love them. Yeah, I used to burn loads of calories, but I wasn't shifting fat, and it was because my body was stressed. As soon as I got stress out of the equation, limited my long bike ride, did shorter cardio sessions, reduced that stress level right down, got that quality sleep, I was better at burning fat. That reflected in my lumen measurements, that reflected in 50 pounds in 7 months, and beyond the 7 months continued to lose a little bit more fat, and since then have really maintained that fat loss. So takeaways: making sure that you prioritize your sleep, making sure that you work to lower your stress levels, making sure that you have some time restricted eating, making sure you eat plenty of fibre and polyphenol rich foods, making sure you stay away from bad carbs that spike your blood sugar and don't give you the nutrients that you need, staying away from trans fats and processed fats and refined fats, all of that stuff, stay away from it. Get some MCT oils if you can. Most supplement places will sell them. Make sure your sources of protein are good. And I didn't mention apple cider vinegar. I also take that pretty much every day before my highest carb meal, 1 tablespoon in water. And I think that really helps as well. It's good for your metabolism and your gut microbiome. Check out my post on the glucose revolution hacks. They're all things that I embrace and adopt in my lifestyle. And hopefully that's some tips for you today to help your mitochondria get more healthy. And check out those doctors, Dr. Stephen Gundry and Dr. Molly Maloof. Brilliant, both of them on mitochondrial health.